Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Because I'm highly unorganised, I've barely posted anything even though I said I would. In fact, since I said I would, I've literally posted nothing. Today I'm actually back with some stories about Burger King and my experience with a few customers. These aren't actually the worst customers that I've ever had. The worst customers that I've had have actually made me go round the back to where only staff are allowed and cry. So my memory has kind of blocked those out. So I actually don't remember full stories. I just remember being screamed at and feeling like I'm about to get physically attacked by customers. I'm not going to talk about those times, but I'm going to be talking about some annoying customers that I experienced. And I have a notebook to help me because I'm actually trying to be organised. So when I started Burger King, I was just 16. It was my first proper job, meaning like excluding babysitting. Yeah, there's no shade on Burger King in this video. This is just shade on the customers, really. Right, so yeah, as I was saying, I've had two more customer service assistant jobs since I was at Burger King. I've worked in a nightclub, also I've worked as a barista, and honestly at Burger King I've had the worst customers that I've had anywhere. So anyway, I'm gonna be telling you 3 different stories about customers that I had issues with when I was working at Burger King about 3 years ago. So the first story, I'll start by saying when I would take orders, I would take 2 orders at a time, and then once I took the orders, I'd line the receipts up on the counter and go and get the drinks for those orders, however many there would be in 2 orders. And then I would put the drinks on the counter in front of me. I would leave the drinks there until the food came down the chute, which is the like slide that the burgers and sides and stuff come down. This one time I had a Coke and some other drinks and I put them down on the counter. So the till is here, customers wait in front of the till, and then the counter would be there, or depends which till you're on, but it would be like to the side of where the customers were. And this one time I was rushing, there was a queue, and I put down a Coke and the other drinks, and as I put it down, I sort of like slid it forward at the same time. But I must have accidentally let go of the Coke because it ended up tipping over and quite a bit of it spilled on the counter. But none of it went on the woman who stood in front of my till because, as I said, the like counter is to the side of the till, so she wasn't even directly affected by it. Oh, I just spilled the tea. So yeah, none of the drink went on this woman, but obviously I apologise because it's going to be startling if somebody spills a drink near you. And then I carried on with my job, trying to get these orders out, and the woman was staring at me, and I knew she was staring at me, but I wasn't looking back because it was kind of awkward. I was actually really embarrassed that I'd just spilled drink in front of everybody and near her. Soon after I realised she was staring at me, I did look in her direction. And she said,
"Are you not going to say sorry?"
So because I'd already said sorry, like for sure I'd said it out loud, and I knew she'd heard me say it, so I just ignored her because I was not looking for an argument that shift. As you can probably tell, things weren't going my way. I thought I also mentioned I did not leave the Coke, that part of getting on with my job was cleaning it up and then trying to get the orders out. That's what I meant that I did. I didn't just leave it dripping. So when I didn't respond to her, to what she said, she then turned around to the man next to her and loudly said,
"No wonder she works here."
And I was just like baffled by the unnecessary rudeness of like that comment. It just degrades people who are working in customer service and in fast food and all that. At the end of the day, I was just trying to do my job and do it quickly and without a mess, which I accidentally caused, but apparently that offended her way more than it should have. I didn't give her any attitude, and she hadn't been served yet because she was actually waiting to be served in front of my till. The other 2 orders were somebody else's. So I didn't give her no attitude, and I just went and served her. And say I don't know the actual prices, it was like 3 years ago, but say she ordered 2 meals and it came to £12.99 and she gave me £13. So she had a penny change and I went to give her the change and she goes,
You can keep the change.
to like look me up and down and say you can keep the change. It was sort of like she was saying that I'm somehow in need of a penny in my life, which I'm not. So I did actually just put it in the charity box. Still didn't say anything to her. And not saying anything to her is definitely not in my nature whatsoever. I am somebody who does stand up for themselves when they need to, when they're getting mugged off by a customer. I went round the back to where some other employees were who were working on burgers and sides, and I told a colleague what she'd said about no wonder she works here, and he was pissed. He wanted me to point out the woman. He was like, point her out, I'll give her a refund and she can go elsewhere if that's how she's going to treat our members of staff. I don't know why I didn't point her out. I didn't dare really go, that's her, that's the one. It had caused an argument and I didn't want to be in the middle of that. But looking back, obviously I should have done that because it's unacceptable behaviour to talk to somebody like that just because they're serving you. That was my first story. It's obviously like that was nothing major, but it just goes to show how little respect quite a lot of people who eat in fast food restaurants, how little respect they actually have for the servers. And I know like probably the majority of us are quite respectful. It is just those other ones. Obviously serving people is not the funnest job in the world, so it's really not what you need when you're doing, say, an 8-hour shift serving people and you'll get, you know, however many rude ones you get. It's just not nice. Right, so this story is one where a customer just thinks they're completely correct and that nothing that we say as customer service assistants is right, like we're lying to them for some daft reason, which, you know, what gain can we get from that? So this man, there was no queue, he came up to the counter and he wanted, it was a spicy burger and it was coming up in an upcoming promotion. It was going to be in our Burger King. So I'm just going to call it jalapeno burger. I think jalapeno was one of the ingredients that it had on it. So he came up, he wanted the jalapeno burger, to which I said we don't have that because we didn't have it in our stores yet. We didn't have it, the stuff to make it yet. So I just said we don't have it, it's coming in soon, but we don't have the stuff to make it yet. So he started arguing, saying yes you do have it. Me and my son have had this exact burger several times in the past couple of weeks, and they'd had it from our specific Burger King. I was just like, are you sure you've not had it from a different Burger King? They might have had it sooner than us. But he was adamant they'd had it at our Burger King, and I obviously knew this could not be true because we didn't have the stuff to make it, so it can't be true. Obviously, when this sort of debate happens, if you're being customer service, you know that you just, you argue your point for a while. Not argue, just if you know you're right, you just carry on saying the same thing over and over, and then they will say, can I speak to a manager? I got the supervisor, he said the exact same thing. We've not had these ingredients, you physically cannot have had this from our Burger King. Like, bearing in mind, I don't know how many days I was working a week, but he's obviously working a fair amount of days a week. He knows not one of these times have we had these ingredients. But the man just kept arguing, saying yes, he'd had it. He was like, can I have a number to ring? Basically just somebody higher up so he could moan that we were lying to him, whatever. And the number's on the receipt, so we just printed the receipt out of the machine and circled the number for him and gave it him, and then he wanted our name so he could probably be more specific in his complaint and say that Mia and so. His last resort to try and get his burger this one last time was to start listing the ingredients. And as he's listing the ingredients, I think like the first two things he said was,
it's got barbecue sauce on it, it's got onion rings on it,
And this is where both of our, like mine and my supervisor's faces just sort of dropped, and we was like, because the burger he was talking about was called a rodeo burger, and I think pretty sure they have that all year round, unless it's gone now. I don't know, it's 3 years ago when I worked there. But he wasn't even talking about this jalapeno burger. He'd got the names mixed up. Asking for one burger, wanting a different burger. The burger he asked for we didn't have, so we told him we didn't have. But he expected us to guess that he wanted a totally different burger to that one. So we were just like, you mean a rodeo? And he was like, yeah, that's the one. He wasted like 20 minutes of our time arguing with us just to be wrong in the end. And he ended up walking away with his burgers. Right, so this next, I haven't actually wrote down this next one because I did this before work like a while ago, and I didn't have time to write the third story, but this is the third and final story. A little explanation to sort of the cause of this argument first. At Burger King, I'm pretty sure it's still the same. A chicken royale and a veggie burger are wrapped in the same paper. This is my piece of paper. You can't even read it. This was the worst idea. If you put a chicken royale here, you would wrap it so that the veggie burger wrapping is there, and then the chicken royale wrapping goes on top. If you're wrapping a veggie burger, you wrap so the chicken royale will be underneath, and then this paper's terrible, and then the veggie burger wrapping would be on the top. So they're wrapped in the same thing, but they're wrapped just like different ways. When you order a veggie burger and you unwrap it, you will see chicken royale, but it does not mean it's a chicken royale because chicken royale is underneath, veggie burger is on top. So it is confusing. Maybe this is partly faulted by the company, but this overreaction that I'm about to talk about is not the company's fault. I was on tills, and I think that my colleague, she was running me off, which is getting my fries, getting my drinks. So there was a little bit of a queue, and I just served this woman, and she'd just got her food from the girl who was working with me, and she ordered a veggie burger meal, and she came back probably like seconds later, shoved straight to the front of the queue, even though I was serving somebody else. She's like, "You gave me a chicken royale. I asked for a veggie burger." And obviously, I think I'd had this problem before, a lot less attitude involved. So I knew the situation. I was like, "No, that is a veggie burger. They're just wrapped in the same wrapping." So she slams the burger down. It's like still wrapped, partially at least, like scruffily wrapped. So she slams it down on the counter, and she goes, "So you're telling me this is a veggie burger?" And I can see veggie patties, tomato, lettuce, cheese, mayo, and I'm like, yeah, it's a veggie burger. And it must have been like the embarrassment or something that made her want to carry on arguing, or just get extremely defensive and try and find anything else to complain about, because obviously she was incorrect about the first thing she complained about. So she goes, "Well, my fries are cold," and obviously the girl who I was working with had heard her disrespectful tone, her rudeness. So the girl just goes, "You don't have to serve her. Like, you don't have to serve them if they're being like this with you." The woman obviously heard the girl I was working with say that I don't have to serve the woman. So she gets even more ag. She's like, "Yes, you do have to serve me. Yes, you do." And the girl I was working with was like, "No, Mia, you don't." And essentially the customer got so annoyed by this point, because obviously she'd mugged herself off in the first place. She was, being told what is correct. We don't need to serve them if they're being so rude to us, because my colleague basically said, "No, you actually don't, like, no matter what this girl says, you don't need to serve her." So the woman just went, in response to being told No. She just went, I want my fucking chips, grabbed the burger off the side and threw it at my colleague. It hit like her thigh area, and then it like went off of her, and there's like this mini fridge where we keep some of the drinks behind it, and it hit that as well and left like mayo all over it. And then she just walked out. She didn't even take any of her food. I assume she'd no burger because it was on the floor. But yeah, that was the story of when my colleague got a burger thrown at her, a veggie burger to be precise, not a chicken royale. Like, I'm not even laughing at it now because I'm trying to make a serious video about horrible customers, but honestly, although my colleague did get upset, looking back on it, me and her both find it hilarious. So, and it's just an experience you'll never forget. Literally, a fucking royale being lobbed across the counter at a colleague. Like, where's the need? It's just weird behaviour. But yeah, that is the end of this video, and if anybody wants to drop a comment and just explain their worst customer experiences or just any bad work experiences, feel free to do so. Cause I just find it funny, to be honest. Like, who brought you up? Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed, please subscribe, and peace.